Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty groundbreaking in software supply chain security.
We are. It's about the first worm in the NPM ecosystem. They're calling it Shai-Hulud.
Shai-Hulud, okay. And this isn't just, another incident report. It's being called the first successful self-propagating attack specifically within NPM.
That's right. Observed around September 15th, 2025. It's a genuine milestone, unfortunately.
So our mission today is really to get under the hood of this worm. How does it work? How did it spread? And importantly, what does this mean going forward?
Definitely. And it's key to understand this didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Right. There's always a backstory.
Exactly. Shai-Hulud is, well, it's directly downstream from that Singularity Next compromise back in late August 2025.
Ah, okay. I remember reading about that. That involved GitHub token theft initially.
Precisely. They took that initial GitHub access, escalated it to steal NPM tokens, and then boom, mass poisoning of multiple quite popular NPM packages.
So that term, self-propagating, that's the kicker here, isn't it? What makes it spread so different from, say, the usual supply chain attacks we analyze?
It's the automation. Typically, an attacker might manually publish a few malicious packages. Here, the worm does the work itself.
How so?
If a package compromised with Shai-Hulud lands in an environment, like a CI/CD pipeline or a developer's machine, and it finds more NPM tokens,
It uses them.
instantly, it automatically publishes malicious versions of any other packages that token has access to. It seeds itself, essentially spreading across the ecosystem without the attacker needing to lift another finger for that specific step.
Wow. Okay, that's a concerning level of automation. So once a dev installs one of these poison packages, what's the immediate payload?
The post-install script kicks in right away, and its first job is data harvesting.
Using what?
It actually uses TruffleHog, the open source secret scanning tool.
Yeah, of course. So weaponizing a security tool.
Exactly. It hunts for environment variables naturally, but also critically for INDS exposed cloud keys.
Instance metadata service keys. That means direct potential access to cloud infrastructure.
Absolutely. High-value targets straight off the bat.
And this is where the GitHub token theft really comes into play, if it finds those. What did Shai-Hulud do with discovered GitHub tokens?
Oh, the GitHub abuse was quite sophisticated and, frankly, noisy. First, it creates public GitHub repos, all named Shai-Hulud,
Public repos for what?
to just dump all the harvested secrets out in the open. A very brazen move.
Okay, what else?
It didn't stop there. It pushed a new GitHub Actions workflow into every repository the stolen token could access,
A malicious workflow.
designed specifically to exfiltrate secrets from each of those repositories to a webhook endpoint, webhook.site, specifically that BBAKP5F6 URL.
Right. And there was more, something about repository migration?
Yes, this was perhaps the most destructive part. It forcibly migrated private organizational repositories to become public personal repositories under the attacker's control.
Migrated private repos to public. How?
It marked them with the description Shai-Hulud migration and added a migration suffix to the repo name. The process involved dropping a couple of scripts, processor.sha and migrate-ifthis-repos.esh, into temp on the compromised system.
And that leaves a trail.
A very distinct one. You see two GitHub events happen very quickly, back to back. A create event, then immediately a public event for the repo. That sequence is a huge red flag for defenders.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned some observations, maybe even attacker slip-ups.
Yeah, a couple of things stood out. One payload variant looked possibly AI-generated stylistically. Another one didn't. So maybe different authors or rapid iteration. Hard to say for sure.
But the bigger slip-up.
Was the exfiltration method itself, that webhook.site endpoint they used?
What about it?
It was on the free plan. It hit the callback limit, 100 requests pretty quickly, and got deactivated by the platform.
Seriously, all that effort tripped up by a free tier limit.
Kind of ironic, isn't it? It meant that specific exfiltration paths stopped working.
So the data was safe then?
Not entirely, because the secrets were also exposed in the logs of those malicious GitHub Actions workflows they pushed everywhere. So a different exposure vector remained. A partial failure for the attacker, but still a data leak.
Right, still a significant risk. So even with that fumble, what was the scale of the damage observed initially?
Wiz Research did the initial deep dive here. They first saw 36 GitHub users whose secrets ended up in that public Shai-Hulud repo dump.
Okay. And the repo migrations?
8 users had their private repos forcibly migrated and made public. But further digging uncovered another 64 repos where the attackers had just created a Shai-Hulud branch containing that malicious workflow.
Exposing secrets in the logs there too, presumably.
Exactly. Things like more GitHub tokens, NPM credentials, Atlassian keys, even Datadog API keys. A real mix of sensitive data. The worm clearly spread through NPM packages, but at the time of analysis, they hadn't seen further repo creation beyond that initial wave.
Got it. So for the security teams listening, what are the immediate actions if they suspect exposure?
The absolute first step is containment. Remove the malicious package versions. That means RMRRF node modules and NPM cache clean force. Then carefully upgrade to a known, verified, clean release.
Standard procedure, but critical here, and monitoring.
Vigilance is key. Monitor GitHub logs intensely, especially for that rapid create event followed by public event sequence we talked about. That's your telltale sign of the migration attempt.
This whole Shai-Hulud situation, it really highlights how complex these supply chain attacks are becoming, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Identifying this as the first worm in NPM, well, it marks a serious escalation in tactics.
So it leaves us with a pretty big question, I think. What does a self-propagating threat like this, inside a core ecosystem like NPM, mean for the future? How do we need to shift our defenses, especially around detecting these kinds of automated propagation techniques?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It forces a rethink. We leave you with that thought.